I still wake up at exactly 3:17 in the morning. Every night. I usually wake up before my alarm, staring into the darkness, convinced that someone is standing in the hallway outside my bedroom. I know nobody is there. At least that's what I tell myself. It's been 8 months since the night everything happened at my old job. 8 months since I discovered something I was never supposed to see. And 8 months since I made one stupid decision that nearly destroyed my life. I was a senior data analyst for a mid-sized logistics company. The job wasn't exciting. Long nights, endless spreadsheets, fluorescent lights, and an office that felt completely different once everyone went home. Because I worked late so often, I had a key card that gave me access to the 4th floor 24 hours a day. Most nights after 8, I was completely alone. That's where I made my mistake. One night, I was checking financial records for a subsidiary when I noticed a payment for $300,000. The description simply said, "Consulting fees." The money had gone to an LLC that hadn't filed public taxes in 4 years. It should have been an IT ticket. An email to compliance. Then I should have gone home. Instead, I became curious. I opened a terminal and started digging. Within 20 minutes, I found a hidden directory buried inside an archived merger folder. Inside were scanned bank statements, internal messages, and confidential memos. They showed that someone had been quietly draining money from the company's expansion fund. And several payments led directly to accounts connected to our vice president of operations, Marcus. Marcus was powerful. Expensive suit. Expensive car. The kind of executive who walked through the office without acknowledging people beneath him. I should have closed the folder. Instead, I downloaded everything to my workstation. I told myself I was protecting myself. The truth was uglier. I liked having something powerful people didn't want me to have. Before leaving, I printed one summary page and put it inside my backpack. I thought I had gotten away with it. The next morning I arrived at 8:50. Marcus was standing near the coffee machine. He looked directly at me. Then my computer woke up. The screen was black. A single line of white text appeared. It was the exact file path of the hidden directory. My blood went cold. I tried closing the window. Nothing happened. Then my desk phone rang. The caller ID showed extension 1. The executive suite. I answered. A voice said, "Office of the President." It was Vance, the company's head of security. "Come to the 6th floor, now." The line went dead. When I reached the executive conference room, Marcus was sitting at the end of a huge table. Vance stood behind me. Marcus pushed a piece of paper toward me. It was my terminal activity from the night before. Every folder, every file, every second. They knew everything. Then they showed me something worse. My workstation had automatically synchronized a copy of the files to a cloud server. A server I thought belonged to me. Marcus smiled. "You made one mistake," he said. "You assumed the computer was yours." Then they explained what was really happening. The money wasn't simply being stolen. The company was being deliberately weakened before a massive corporate buyout. They needed someone to blame when the numbers collapsed. And now they had me. Vance placed a document in front of me. A confession. It made it appear that I had created the financial discrepancies myself. "Sign it," he said. If I refused, they would report me for unauthorized access and data theft. If I signed, I kept my job and walked away clean. My hands were shaking. I knew it was a trap, but I was terrified, so I signed. They let me leave at 11:30 that morning. 2 months later, I quit. I found another job. I moved on. At least that's what I thought. Then the 3:17 a.m. wake-up started. At first, I blamed stress. Then one morning, I noticed something. There were faint footsteps in my hallway. I checked the security camera. Nothing. The next night, it happened again. 3:17 a.m., 3 slow footsteps, then silence. I started recording the hallway every night. For weeks, there was nothing. Until last Tuesday. At exactly 3:17, my camera detected movement. I opened the recording. The hallway was empty. Then the image flickered. For one frame, someone was standing at the end of the hallway. I froze. I rewound it. There was nothing. I played it again. Nothing. Then I noticed something in the corner of the frame. A reflection. Someone was standing behind the camera. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I opened my laptop. There was one new file on the desktop. I hadn't created it. The file name was 317 Final. My hands started shaking. I opened it. There was only one line of text. The same line I had seen on my office computer 8 months earlier. The hidden directory. But underneath, it was something new. A timestamp. 3:17 a.m. Then another line appeared. I watched it type itself onto the screen. You didn't sign your life away. I couldn't breathe. Another sentence appeared. You signed theirs. And then I understood. The document I had signed wasn't a confession. It was an authorization, the exact authorization they needed to access every system I had ever worked on. And the cloud backup I thought they controlled, it had been copied somewhere else. Someone had been waiting for me to leave. Waiting for the right moment. My phone suddenly rang. Unknown number. I answered. Nobody spoke. Then I heard 3 slow knocks. Not through the phone. From my hallway. I looked toward the bedroom door. 3 more knocks. And then my computer screen went black. The time in the corner read 3:17 a.m. I haven't slept properly since. Because every night at 3:17, I hear those footsteps. And sometimes, they stop outside my bedroom door.